Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Edison TV. My name is Andy Murphy, Director at Edison, and I'm pleased to be joined by Guy Gittins, the recently appointed Chief Executive of London estate agency Foxtons. Hello and welcome.
Thank you very much.
Well, I guess there's a touch of deja vu with you returning to Foxtons, so perhaps could you give us a little bit of a background as to why you rejoined Foxtons and what you now bring to Foxtons?
You're absolutely right. It is a very welcome case of deja vu to come back where I started my career nearly 20 years ago. There's lots of reasons why I come back, but the most important reason is because I believe passionately that we can rebuild what Foxtons was and get back to those really heady days where we were absolutely dominating the market and delivering fantastic returns for the shareholders.
Fantastic. So what's it like being back? How have you settled in, and perhaps what are your first impressions of being back in the saddle?
Well, it's definitely been a whirlwind couple of months, that's for sure. I've spent my time getting around as many of the offices as possible. Of course, I've been really investing a lot of time talking to many of our heads of industry and heads of departments, and really starting to understand now a lot more detail about the operational model and where we can add value and what ultimately needs to be changed up over the coming months. And we have an amazing support network within the team. We've got a lot of people that have got a very, very similar shared vision of what I believe that we need to achieve. And I think that comes from that common starting point all those years ago. We've seen Foxtons at its absolute peak for the majority of our senior management, and we've got a really solid shared vision of what we need to do in order to get it back there.
Okay, good. Just thinking back, before you joined Foxtons, there was probably 12 or 18 months of quite a lot of management change, strategic change. Can you perhaps outline these initiatives for us?
Certainly. Well, the biggest change, of course, was the change of chairman. Nigel Rich came in September of last year and really has started that moment of inertia to start that change. And I think absolutely paving the way for many of the changes that I'm looking to achieve over the next 12 months as well. Shortly after Nigel Rich came on board, he brought, it was, I think, clear to him and probably to a number of other people that they needed to have some estate agency experience, both on the board but also at senior management level at Foxtons. He brought in Peter Rollings. Obviously, Peter Rollings is ex-Foxtons from many moons ago. He was one of my first bosses and had gone on to run Marsh & Parsons and successfully bought that and sold it through private equity. Nigel Rich himself is ex-chairman also of Hamptons International. So now at non-exec level, we've got this tremendous level of understanding and expertise, and really now at senior management level within the operational side of the business, we've gone from one extreme to another. I have been an agent, and I'm incredibly proud to say I've been an agent, and that's really supported my career growth. And we're bringing that absolutely back in at the senior level as well across the business.
Good. Well, it's nice to see a lot of experience coming back into the business. Just thinking about the future, can you talk perhaps a little bit about your thoughts for Foxtons' strategy in the future, how you might change things or not change things?
Yeah, I think it was interesting for me coming back to Foxtons because I had this, I suppose, romantic vision of what Foxtons used to be all about. And absolutely, I believe Foxtons' early success was due to the fact that they were the ultimate innovator of the industry. They were absolutely the original property disruptor. They were the first to come out with branded cars. They were the first to use the database CRM. They were the first to silo various aspects of the process to drive efficiency. And really, that's what I loved, and that's essentially what I've built my entire career off the back of that same vision and that same outlook. It was a surprise to me, and it is a surprise to me that really the operating model within Foxtons really hasn't changed that much. But of course, the market's changed enormously, and of course, as a business, we've grown enormously. We're 3 times the size that we were when I left. But we haven't changed the operating model, and we need to. There are quicker, more efficient ways of going after market share. There's quicker, more efficient ways of onboarding clients and processing lettings deals. And all of this really is a focus for everybody in the business to get back to those innovating ways. Most of the industry spent the last 20 years copying the ideas of Foxtons, but also I think what's happened is that a lot of those agencies, a lot of our competition have caught up with their innovation, and now it's our turn to really start to progress that again. So a lot of our changes will be regarding innovation and what I can be using our inbuilt CRM team, which is a huge advantage to us if we're using that to give us an unfair advantage. But at the moment they're not, it's business as usual. So we're getting a lot back focused on that. We're driving a sales culture back into those teams. We have to be proud of being not only estate agents, but salespeople. And that means that we share success, we recognise success, we are motivating to all of our employees. We have to be able to structure the industry's leading training, which is what Foxtons always used to be famous for. And as we start to do that, a really firm focus on market share, irrelevant of what's going on within the greater market. My absolute belief is that we should always be focusing on growing that market share. And I'm looking realistically at the market share decline of Foxtons over the last 7 years. We want to reverse that and absolutely get back to where we were.
Good. Sounds exciting. Very exciting. Just recently, Foxtons had its Q3 results. Just wondering, the results themselves are very good, but was there anything specific in there that you think really underpins the Foxtons message or the strength of the company that you do want to highlight?
It's always about our renewable lettings income. It's a big part of our business, and actually what I really want to do is to return us to a much stronger level of organic lettings growth. If you look at our lettings revenue over the last 6 or 7 years, it's kind of been flat, but ultimately we've got to be going after that market share. We've got to be quicker at bringing stock to market. We have to have a more aggressive focus on onboarding clients and identifying new clients. And ultimately then we've got to really drive that efficiency, drive that salesmanship across the business to continue that growth. A big proportion of that growth this year in our lettings business has come from an increase in lettings values. And sales, obviously, we've just had 18 months of a really, really buoyant sales market, which we've been able to capitalise on a little, but I don't think we've capitalised on it enough.
Cool. Interesting. Just thinking about what you just described there, just wondering whether you could perhaps give us a few thoughts on what you think are the key challenges facing Foxtons over the next, let's say, 6, 12, 18 months.
I think the challenges facing Foxtons are the same challenges that face most of the companies that operate in London. Their cost of living is increasing. That's not only a challenge for our clients and for our applicants, but it's also a challenge for our employees. We've also, of course, have the headwinds of the economic uncertainty. And what we have to do really is forensically review the performance of the business on a live basis, which has never really happened before. We've got to be looking at those lead KPIs to give us an indicator of where the market is heading, and then we manage the business up and down accordingly. What we do foresee for certain is that we know that it takes us time to bed in sales negotiators, lettings negotiators, also client services advisors in our mortgage broking house at Alexander Hall. We have to support those fee earning heads, and therefore we have to manage the business around it so that we can invest in keeping those fee earners in situ longer, so that we can train them to become better and they become larger fee earners for us. And that way, that no matter what the challenges are ahead of us, we should be capitalising on that market share that is actually transacting. And if we can invest in that over the medium term, I'm very confident that no matter what the backdrop of the economic uncertainties, we can be there doing deals and ultimately driving revenue.
Cool. Thank you, Guy. It was a very insightful discussion, and I wish you and the whole team of Foxtons the best of luck. That's it for now from Edison TV. My thanks to Guy for his time and for you for watching. Until next time.